Hello and welcome to this week's Top 25 Power Rankings for Lol Esports, where I go over all the teams in the top 25, in my opinion. On the board here, you have a top 25 that is based on the Discord's participation. This week, instead of like 10 or so participants, we only had 4. Two are fans of LCK. Out of it, we had a couple LCK fans, LPL fans, and LEC fans. It mixes with the roles on the Discord. Teams with votes that did not end up in the top 25 in the Discord were, from most to least, Team Liquid, Team Heretics, RNG, Astral from Latin America, DRX, Rare Atom, 100 Thieves, FearX, and Nongshim Red Force. Also keep in mind, you'll see that it's kind of puzzling the order. Folks will just post it on there and then not update it. So if you have a problem, join the Discord and, participate in the power rankings going forward. And, if you want to criticize others, just do it in a fair manner. Now, in terms of the top 25 for myself, the 4 teams out of the top 25 that were in it last week, the Guangdong Freaks, Team Secret, GAM Esports, and Weibo Gaming. Right now, Vietnam is going through quite a match-fixing scandal where they have completely eliminated all the results of the last week of their spring split. So, because of that, I took the Vietnamese teams off of here. If it were to come to fruition that, like, GAM Esports and things like that were in any way involved, it would be a really, really damn shame. So, 25th, back in the top 25, RNG. They put together a pretty good week, beating Anyone's Legend OMG, 2 teams that are in my top 25 still and were at that time even up in the top 15 or so. Lost to Ninja and Pajamas this week yesterday, or the day before, 2-0. RNG, solid team. They have good players in 4 of the 5 roles. Tangwan, a young, budding mid laner, if they give him an opportunity to continue to develop. So, RNG, solid team. 24th, new to the top 25, FearX. So, I think you got to include all the LCK playoff teams in the top 25. I think it's almost like a given. So, FearX beat DRX, which, DRX are going through their own shit right now, swapping out top laners and mid laners, trying to figure out what they want to do for summer. Kiahu's back in mid in place of Satab, and Frog played today. Now, KDF were the team in 6th place. They were the ones that controlled their own destiny. All they had to do was win one more series, or even a few games in general, and a series, and they would probably be in the playoffs. But now they're tied with FearX going into the final week, and FearX just beat them 2-1. So give credit where credit's due. Closer is a solid mid laner that's very underrated in my opinion. And that bot lane of Henna Execute are no slouch. Better than I expected they would be. 23rd, dropping 1 spot, Vitality. This is kind of just a matter of, I think if other teams are just simply playing better, then Vitality are going to drop, because they have a ceiling, and it is, the Mad Lions of old almost. I think that's because of Mac being their coach. It just reminds me a lot of Mad. Carzy Hilly playing with Mad Lions last year as well. Coin flip in bot lane. You have Vethio in mid, a solid mid laner that when he's on and can carry, things can happen. Photon, a good player. And then Douglas. Douglas is the one that, needs to continue to develop. And he will over time here. 22nd, dropping 10 spots, Team World Elite. So, Team We are, so a lot of folks on the Discord really don't like that Prince is in the lineup, and now I'm starting to think maybe Stay should be in it. Losing to Rare Atom, Top Esports, and then Thunder Talk. Yes, losing to TT is not a good look as Team We, and not only that, losing to Rare Atom, not a good look. Like, Top Esports, I expect to beat Team We, but in the case of Rare Atom and Thunder Talk, I expected Team We to put up more of a fight, and they did not. Fofo struggling, and the bot lane struggling. 21st, speaking of TT, they're back in my top 25. If you have been around, you will know that Team Thunder Talk are a squad that I've always had a soft spot for. I don't know why, but Team We and LGD, Team We, that was a solid win. They're a top 25 team. Lost to Nip. That is what it is. Nip are better than Thunder Talk in, I'd argue every way. Now, in terms of beating LGD, that's a win they need to have. Separate themselves. Something Weibo could not do, and why they're not in my top 25 this week. So that is what it is. Back in the top 25. So when we have teams like this getting in the top 25, it's starting to become clearer, at least for the end of spring, that we have teams that are simply very unreliable. Inconsistent. You don't know what you're going to get out of them. These guys are like that. So 20th, back in the top 25, are CFO Flying Oyster. So you might say, why are CFO in there then? They have solid players across the board. Players that you know. You know who Rest is. You know who Karsa is. Gory in mid lane. Swordart at support, and I think Shun is the AD carry, and we've seen him at international events. CFO has 2 PCS players that haven't gotten into the major regions, but then Karsa, Gory, and Swordart. Karsa and Swordart, obviously, Hall of Fame type players from the back in the day, and still are solid players that are performing. And frankly, these guys are not performing. So you got to give it to where it's due, and CFO are a team with players that probably beat these teams, in my opinion. 19th, PSG. So, PSG beat Beyond Gaming today, 3-1. Moved up 4 spots in the top 25. Solid team. Always competitive at international events. Cannot take them for granted, and we will continue to respect them on this channel. After that, we have 18th, FlyQuest. So FlyQuest, 1-0 this past week, moved up 3 spots. They beat Team Liquid 3-2 to be able to go. Just want to fix my board here. To move on to the next round of the LCS playoffs. Masu Busio leaving a little bit to be desired. Bwipo very aggressive, inspired, showing up. Jensen showing up in the matchup against Team Liquid. So FlyQuest, we'll see how well they do when they can start getting interesting picks. Are they going to be the second seed going to MSI? Quite possibly. Either them, 100 Thieves, I think, are the two that I would say are duking it out for it. 17th, dropping a few spots here, OMG. And let's keep in mind, there are issues here, right? So, OMG beat Ultra Prime. That's a win they have to have. But lost to RNG, and that's not a win that, losing RNG is not a good look for OMG. They're supposed to be better than them. And also lost to BLG. We also have to keep in mind Angel did lose, I believe, his father this past week. So in their series against BLG today, he didn't even play. They played Linfeng and Linfeng, and honestly, I don't believe, if last I recall, before the season started, he was not LPL level. So that's not great. And the results speak for themselves. They're also went with Starry at 80 carry, and he did well in his game. Game 2, I think he had 19 kills on Jinx, which is insane. Well, sorry, I almost said insanity, but it's insane. So we'll see what they decide to do at 80 carry. That is self-inflicted if they want to play Abel or Starry. But the mid lane situation is kind of just is what it is until Angel comes back. 16th, Anyone's Legend, dropping 2 spots. I try to not do this, but they've named Tabe head coach. Tabe was the coach of BLG from mid-spring last year through the end of the year. Everybody forgets about the early part of BLG season and the struggles they had prior to making a coaching change. So Anyone's Legend going 0-3, lost to JDG and LNG. The JDG loss to be expected. Losing to LNG, though, yesterday, I thought that Anyone's Legend were going to win that, or this morning. This is this morning. I'm mixing my days up. I thought that Anyone's Legend had a chance to win that with Tabe as coach, but he does have to get used to his players, especially Harry and Croco on the top side of the rift, trying to maximize them. They are not Bin and Shun by no means. But Shanks, Hope, and Cal are good players. Losing to RNG is not acceptable. RNG is a team that I thought Anyone's Legend should beat. But RNG do have good players, so 2 losses in a row, and they end up going with the coaching change. 15th, Fnatic, moving up 4 spots. Beat Giant X G2 Vitality. I actually had them beating G2 this past weekend. It just felt like the game that G2 would lose. G2 are still above them in the top 25. But Fnatic are playing really hot right now. Oscar's doing his job. Razork and Humanoid are very efficient in the mid-jungle duo. And Noah John are simply getting it done. So, Fnatic, great team. Western-wise, team that I expect to be competitive with Vitality going to MSI and things like that. SK Team Heretics, definitely on a tier below them. Even if Heretics sometimes do perform well, I am still, questioning the mid lane for Heretics. I don't like basing things off of 6 games. I think that's kind of silly. Above Fnatic, C9. So C9 played 1 series. And it was a 3-0 over 100 Thieves. So they move up 4 spots. They beat 100 Thieves 3-0. Still a team that, in my opinion, I don't think gets anything done internationally because there's no pizzazz to this team. And you need pizzazz as a Western team to have any chance in hell at an international event. So C9 are good, and they're going to stat check and hands check any team that may be lacking. But if the Eastern teams are even playing decent, C9 don't have quite a chance here. 13th, IG dropping 4 spots. Excuse me. So, losing to FPX JDG. FPX was a real test. Which team of FPX or IG were going to be that team that's surprising us in spring and being very competitive? I mean, IG beat BLG and FPX beat JDG. So, honestly, it was a moment, right? And FPX won it. IG also lost to LNG, which is a team that I had below them. LNG have better players, but LNG have struggled. This past week was simply not the case, though, and we'll get into that in a second. So, above IG, we have NIP and LNG. We'll talk about these 2 teams at the same time. So, NIP beat Thunder Talk RNG. 2 wins they need to have, but at the same time, NIP were on Struggle Street last week, and, even a week and a half ago, I guess. Excuse me. And beat the teams on their schedule and beat them handily. So that's a thing. LNG beat IG and Anyone's Legend. The EDG win is a must-have, but IG, Anyone's Legend, those are 2 wins against teams that are around them in my power rankings, around them in my thoughts, and LNG showed that they're better than them right now, and there's something to be said for that. Gala and Hung playing well, Scout doing well, Wei seeming to get a little bit better. He definitely is a troublesome part of the team, but LNGs are starting to climb. They did change coaches. Yu is now the coach, and Crescent is not, and that's also probably a factor in all this. 10th, KT. They beat 2 teams they're supposed to beat. They beat Bro and DRX. I mean, KT they have 4 players that we know, right? Pioshik, BDD, Deft, and Barrel. We've seen them for many, many years. We know they're very good players. Perfect still somehow wins games with like over 5 deaths. He's like the shy in that way. And it's just kind of against a team that's above them, they're going to lose. But teams below them, maybe they find a way to get by them, even despite having like a free, a free kill in top lane, if you will. Excuse me. Ninth place, G2. G2 are probably not going to move out of this area. I say it all the time. G2 are the team that, in my opinion, just glorify scrims it after they've locked international events and they've locked MSI. So now they're just scrimming as far as I'm concerned. Beat Heretics, beat Giant X, lost to Fnatic. So 1-1 against teams that, are playoff teams and solid teams in Heretics and Fnatic. Giant X is a game they need to have, so getting it is whatever. G2 are just going to continue to do their thing. We'll see if they end up winning in spring or not. 8th, D+, went 0-2. But they went 0-2 against T1 and gen.g, two teams that I expected them to lose to. So, in the manner in which they lost, you could ask for a little bit better. But at the same time, they are, figuring things out with Lucid in the jungle role. They're just going to get better if they continue to go with him. Excuse me. However, I did see somebody put in the Discord that there might be a Tarzan to D+ rumor. That was only a matter of time, that thought, because Tarzan is the best Korean jungler out there by far, actually the best free agent jungler in general. And someone was going to end up signing him for summer, and D+ would be the team in the LCK that I could see doing that to secure the 4th seed in their region. 7th, FPX, and this is kind of where they top out at. So last week I had them 7th. I'm probably not moving them up. Even though they beat Top Esports, the fact of the matter is FPX are still a team to me that I just, I think I moved FPX up in my top 25. I wonder if I screwed up my top 25 from last week relative to this one with my plus and minuses. Regardless, I have FPX here. Beat IG, beat Rare Atom. I still like Top Esports. Regardless, it's just a matter of, if you can take away Milky Way, FPX are on struggle street, I think. So FPX are 7th. I think I didn't adjust properly for what I had last week in my top 25 after I altered it, because I did make changes right before I did the video. T1, 6th place. T1 lost to HLE. Not good. So beating DK and Nongshim wins I expect them to have. Losing to HLE is not acceptable. That's a loss you want to have back. HLE are not, of course they're a great team with players in the top of their roles in Viper, Delight. However, they aren't very proactive. They're not going to go out there and just outright beat you. You have to kind of lose to them. And T1, they do have that problem where they can just lose to teams. And, it's not great. It's not great. 5th, Top Esports. Lost to JDG, but beat Team Wii. It's hard to look past Top Esports and not think to myself what I said before the season started. I think that they're going to be a world's contending team for it all. Jackie and Mako, solid. Not solid. Hell, it might be the best bot lane ever on paper. And then it's all a matter of if Kareem and Tian can find synergy. So Top Esports to me are still top of the class. Yes, FPX continue to win, and it's a disservice to them, I guess, by me to say that they're not up there, but it's hard to really accept that, I guess, if you will, that those 5 players are better than the 5 players on Top Esports, right? And you should not be looking at nameplates. It's just a matter of who wins in a best of 5 must win, and I don't know if Milky Way does in that situation. I need to see him in the playoffs, I guess, before I really kind of adjust for that. 4th, HLE. Like I said, beat T1, so they're above them. Top Esports have shown the ability to lose when they shouldn't, so HLE wins. They beat KDF, they beat T1, and hell, they could go all the way as well with the players they have. As long as everyone else keeps fumbling and bumbling, they will win. 3rd, JDG. Now, JDG is an interesting case. So beat Top Esports, Anyone's Legend, IG. So 3 wins against teams that are playoff teams. And most importantly, Sheer was in the lineup for all 3. So after losing FPX, they changed top lane, and Sheer has brought them success. Is it necessarily him? No, but maybe that's giving them a different vibe to the team, and they haven't looked back with him in the lineup. So maybe it is one of those angles where you have a rookie on a team that's just going to go all the way. I mean, hell, last year it's kind of ironic, right? You had the super team on JDG's case, and this year now they change it up and have some question marks to begin it, and have a rookie outright in top lane, and since putting him in are performing. Second, Gen G, they just beat everybody in front of them. I mean, what are you going to do? I think it's a crash course for MSI between Gen G and BLG, so I'm just going to do BLG right now. You have elite players in all 5 roles on both sides. And that's kind of the thing here, right? Between Gen G and BLG. Gen G beat Nongshim, DK, DRX. I mean, Nongshim, DRX, easy wins. DK, easy win. BLG beat Ultra Prime, Weibo, OMG. OMG didn't even have Angel or Abel in the lineup, so 3 easy wins for them. And honestly, like I said, both teams on a crash course for each other to decide who wins MSI, in my opinion. I think that it would take I don't like using the word choke, right? Or fraud or fraudulent or anything like that, because I think that it's silly and it's the misuse of the terminology. However, I do think that these 2 teams are kind of on the crash course for MSI. The way they're playing right now, the way they've played all year, it's hard to imagine anybody else taking their place at this moment. So that's it for the video. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, like it. Subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter, and hope to see you again tomorrow.